we've already gone through our roll call and adoption of the agenda and our public input. And the first couple of hours this evening, we spent going through our American Rescue Plan Act workshop, or our ARPA workshop. And so now we are at the open session, and we can take kind of a visual roll call. But we are going to have a pledge to the flag, and we're going to have the pledge to the flag by former council member and mayor Bob Harbeck. I have no idea why you left Duarte to move over to Arcadia, but here's an open invitation to move back to our beautiful city. So Bob Harbeck, please come up and lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Oh, please rise and face the flag. Put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Bob will be telling us a few things a little bit later on. He also served on the Arcadia City Council for a number of years and was also mayor there. So, well, clearly we know which is better. Okay, thank you very much, Bob. So right now, Annette, are you ready with that thumb drive for the Rotary presentation? Okay. We have, where is Lydia? Okay. I just want to go ahead and mention that this May, actually what, in a week and a half, is going to be the 35th anniversary of the Rotary decision that came out of the United States Supreme Court, and it impacted positively the Duarte Rotary Club, because Duarte was the ex-Rotary Club because they chose to admit women into their Rotary Club. And we have a number of Rotarians here right now. We have one future Rotarian, and then we have Kristen, who is, I guess, once a Rotarian, always a Rotarian. And then we also have Brian, who is Mr. Rotary himself. We have Lydia Carswell, Ms. Rotary, Steve Hernandez. We can't run the club without him. And up here, we have Jody, who is also in Rotary. And then, of course, Bob Harbeck is Rotary over in Arcadia. And if Victoria were here, she's also Rotary. So with that, Lydia, why don't you come up and tell us a little bit about women in Rotary?
All right. Good evening, everyone. I do have a couple handouts. Who should I do this?
And you'll probably want to speak from the microphone, Lydia.
Mayor, my Little League team was the Rotary. They were
Your what?
sponsored by the Rotary Club. My Little League baseball team in Duarte was sponsored by the Rotary Club.
That's awesome.
So I'm a Rotary member too.
Okay, we're going to count on that, Tony.
I played left bench, but I got a trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Mayor, council members, city staff. It's so wonderful to be here this evening, and I'm going to tell you just right up front, this is the first time I'm doing a presentation and not having control of the computer and my mouse. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'm feeling just a tad nervous, but we'll be fine. All right. I gave the council members a little booklet. It's called A Taste of Service. And we just had a fundraiser on Saturday. And just so you know, it was a taste of Italy. And so I took that concept of taste, and in here I'm talking about the mouse that roared, how we give service, and I put in the articles that we put in the Chamber View this year. And one of them's not even out yet because it's coming out in May. So the council members do have this for your reading pleasure. All right, can we start at the very beginning? All right. We know that in history, we learn from the past, we try to make the present better, and we plan for the future. And that's what we do in Rotary as well. And so this presentation is meant to be a history of women in Rotary. Now, you know that women in Rotary all happened because of this little club in Duarte. I want to give you a slightly different perspective and go back to when they were trying to put women in Rotary from way back when. All right, so Rotary did start back in 1905. There was a gentleman named Paul Harris, and he was a lawyer in Chicago. And he had this great concept. I'm going to get together with some of my colleagues, business people, and we're going to get together and network and have camaraderie and help our community. So that's what Paul Harris did. And just an aside fact, they called it Rotary because they rotated the meetings at the different business sites of the people in the club. So that's how we got our name. So way back, 1910 was the very first time that they tried to get women in Rotary. 1910, 5 years after it started, and it was rejected. 1912, a club in Belfast, Ireland, that's the first international attempt, tried getting women and again rejected. 1921, the International Convention in Scotland changed the terminology in the Constitution because it used to say comprised of persons. And guess what? They changed it to comprised of men. 1972, they also tried, and at the Council on Legislation, and that is the law, the governing body of Rotary International, and they meet every 2 years, and they laughed it off and rejected it and said, no way. So in 1977, 3 different proposals to admit women, and all 3 of those failed. And then 1977, Duarte decided to admit 3 women. And they didn't ask Council on Legislation. They didn't ask Rotary International. They just admitted them because they were trying to increase membership. So now here's the story of our club, the Mouse That Roared. There were 8 members in the club. The superintendent, Dr. Key, was the president. And he said, we're not going to make it with 8 members. We have to grow this club. Let's get some people in. And he decided there were lots of women educators, principals, administrators that would be fantastic. So he threw out the idea to the club and they said, let's go for it. Okay, but being the good guy that he was, he asked the district governor-elect, what do you think about that? Do you think we could get women in the club? And District Governor Paul Bryan-elect said, use discretion. Why don't you submit their names with the initials, their first initials and their last name? So he did. They added 3 people. There were 8 in the club, so they almost increased by half, 50%. Now they had various, and you saw on the slide, there are various types of professions, and all of them were for it except an undertaker from Zook, Douglas and Zook. He didn't like the idea, so he left the club. So ML Elliott, that's Mary Lou, and she was my principal when I first hired on. Donna Bogart, principal at Maxwell, and Rosemary Freitag, who was a psychologist, became the 3 newest members of the Rotary Club of Duarte. So life went on, service went on. They did all the things they used to do, and everything was hunky-dory until they had their anniversary. Uh-oh. 25th anniversary of the celebration of the Rotary Club of Duarte. So they decided to invite Rotary International. A representative came, could not believe his eyes. Terrified, upset, disbelief. How could this club let women in when that is not part of the bylaws? Rotary International told Duarte, hey, can't do this. You either get those women out or you're not going to be called a Rotary Club anymore. You'll have to cease calling yourself a Rotary Club. So Superintendent Key, being the good guy that he was, took a vote of the members and they said, let's keep them. So they went on, they kept them. They did nothing different. They just kept on giving service. And in 1978, in March, what they did was Rotary International made a statement and said, we are revoking your charter. You cannot be a Rotary Club anymore. So now here's Rotary's, Duarte's decision, what to do. So they said, we'll appeal to the Council on Legislation. And let's ask them. And they said, no, you can't talk to us or the RI Board of Directors because you're not a real Rotary Club. Because you have women, we can't call you a Rotary Club. We can't do that for you. So then they said, let's go to send someone to Japan and help and get the Council on Legislation to vote for us. So this city had fundraisers to get money to send Luke McJimson, who was the principal at the high school at the time, longtime Rotarian, to go there. So he thought everything would be wonderful and he'd get everything resolved. But the Council on Legislation didn't look at, should we allow women in Rotary? Their issue, they said, was, did this club violate Rotary bylaws by inviting women? And the vote was 1,060 to 34. Duarte Rotary violated the law. So now they decided, okay, the charter was revoked. They don't have a charter anymore. So even though we didn't have our name yet, the mouths that roared, I'm telling you, the spirit of these 8 men, they decided, well, if we can't be called a Rotary Club, then we'll have to change our name and call ourselves the ex-Rotary Club of Duarte. And that's what they became, the ex-Rotary Club for many, many years. I interviewed Sylvia Whitlock, the first female president, and Donna, whom you know, because she was our past director of Parks and Rec here in the city, that they just had business as usual. And they didn't realize when they were going through all of this, what a big deal it really was. It was history in the making, but they didn't see it that way at the time. So a neighboring Rotarian, Sanford Smith from Arcadia, said, hey, I think we have a case here. Let's bring it to the courts and say that you have a right to be reinstated. And so Duarte took his offer pro bono and they started the process. So June 1978, lawsuits began. Okay, Arcadia Rotary Club, integral. This guy helping us without charging anything. And they got ACLU involved as well. So as soon as we started the lawsuit, RI started playing ping pong. They said, well, we don't want it in the state courts. Let's have it in the federal courts. A lot of board members are not from California. So if the jurisdiction had to be changed to federal court, it would not have been to our advantage because there was a federal court decision in 76, an exclusionary rules for private clubs. But the court ruled that the battle had to be fought at the state level. So I'm not going to go into detail here. You've got it here. You'll see that it went back and forth. Judge Dutz, he refused to reinstate the club. Duarte Club appeal decision, state appeal court reversed his decision, and it just kind of went back and forth there. But the state appeals court reversed it in 1986. Now, all these years have evolved and we're still doing things as the ex-Rotary Club. And they said it did not follow the state's UNRRA Act, banning discrimination based on race, gender, religion, or ethnic origin. So they reversed the decision. I think you've heard this before, but I find this absolutely hilarious. RI did not communicate with the Duarte Club after this decision. They didn't say, we're welcoming you back. We're taking away the revocation of your charter. When it came time for dues, they sent us a bill saying, tell us how many members you have, and now you owe Rotary International so much money for the members. That was their welcome home to us. So during all these years of the proceedings, you will see that there were a lot of people that came into the club, a lot of women. Donna Giorgino, 1986, Elaine Benthis from City of Hope, Bernie Ohanian, principal from Valley View School, and Maribel Taylor, a missionary that lived at Westminster. And Sylvia Whitlock, first woman president, became member in 1982. No pressure. As I said, the club didn't feel anything. They just kind of went on and did their work. But they didn't realize it really was history in the making. It is a big deal in the Rotary world. March 30th, 1986, the appellate court decision, all kinds of articles in the LA Times, all over. Duarte celebrating court ruling. We inducted 2 more women right after that decision. Okay, the appellate court said we have to allow women. Sylvia is now president-elect. She has to go to president-elect training. So she was invited. Many men, 310 male members, and Sylvia Whitlock. And she received a nice 3x5 saying, don't forget to bring your coat and tie for directory pictures. She was there and they were giving information, and a lovely gentleman named Pablo Campos from Mexico City, a past district governor, told Sylvia, just a word of advice, take note, write down what's happening. This is a historic occasion. So she did. All right, now John Fee, who's the district governor at the time, is giving an update to the district and saying, you know, this went through the appellate court. We're going to bring it to the US Supreme Court. Things will be fine. It's just a case of this mouse that roared, a small little club that was trying to change Rotary International. So she jotted it down immediately. And that's how we got our motto that we use to this day. All right, go on. There's our flag, and it says the mouse that roared. Lots of Supreme Court news all over, calls from not only the US, but throughout the world. Mary Lou and Sylvia were interviewed for 4 hours by Warren Olney from CBS at the district office. They had to change locations. Cabrera's, which was Crystal's, was the meeting place, wasn't big enough. They had to go to Rancho Duarte Golf Course. They blew fuses at one of the meetings because there was so much media plugging in all their equipment. All right, continue. So no one really in the club thought it was a big deal. No one anticipated the notoriety that even now, when I was in the Philippine Islands 3 years ago, someone said to me, you're from the mouse that roared. So they had to take me out to dinner and wine and dine me because I was from the mouse that roared. And here's a picture of Donna and Sylvia way back when. Another LA Times article. Quote from Dr. Key. That was about the fuses blowing. And this I'd like to end with because this is so apropos right now with the pandemic. This is a changing world. We must be prepared to change with it. And the story of Rotary will have to be written again and again. And this was written by none other than Mr. Paul Harris in the early 1900s. So we think out of the box and we keep on doing what we can for community. So May 4th is the start of a new year of celebrating the mouse that roared. Questions?
I don't have any, but excellent presentation. Zeidel?
Just a quick comment. Every time I hear this story, I learn something new. And I think that it's very inspirational for all people, but especially young girls, knowing that this happened in our community. So thank you for sharing again.
Okay.
And
And I did pull some data, 1.4 million individuals worldwide in Rotary. I just looked this up this evening. Over 46,000 member clubs.
And Lydia, I think the thing that's really important here too is women in all service clubs were
Oh,
not
yes.
allowed. Lions Club,
Mhm.
Kiwanis, I think even like Quota Club, all of those, JC's,
All service
women-
organizations
women
must
were not
allow
allowed.
women, must because of that Supreme Court decision. And 277,000 women currently in Rotary, about 23% in the world. Okay,
and growing every day. Yeah, go ahead.
How you doing? Thank you for the presentation. I knew Donna Bogart when I was I went to Maxwell and she was my principal.
very good.
And I was in her office an awful lot. So if she could see, she made an influence on me. So I was listening, Miss Bogart.
Yes. Thank you.
And, something else for the presentation next time, I think everybody would love to see, because I think Sylvia has an ex-Duarte Rotary pin, doesn't she?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I found one. I have one right now.
Oh, you have one too?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
It's like a treasure.
Oh, sure.
And Steve's coming up and telling me to make sure that all of you know that not only did it change service organizations in the US of A, but throughout the world.
Something else too, I was living in Denver at the time, and I just remember my mom calling me up and saying, hey, you've got to go ahead and turn on the Today Show. They've got a program on about the Duarte Rotary Club.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it made national and international news.
Mhm.
So it was kind of a big deal.
I do have a video clip, but it's 4 minutes and it's Peter Jennings, Tom Brokaw, Warren Olney,
Can we
all the
watch it?
national. It's there. Do you want to watch it? It's
Sure,
about
if you
3
can do
minutes,
it.
3.5 minutes.
Donna is so young. Is what? I have no idea. Donna Giorgino.
Normally, this is like a 35-minute presentation and I talked on top, so.
The year was 1976. A gallon of gas cost 59 cents. The United States was celebrating its bicentennial. And the Rotary Club of Duarte, California was also just about to celebrate its 25th birthday by violating Rotary International's bylaws and invite women to join their club. This brave move ultimately caused Duarte Rotary Club to lose its charter Undeterred, the club renamed itself the Ex-Rotary Club of Duarte, and its members continued on their quest, not to the outcast of one of the greatest humanitarian organizations in the world. Sylvia Whitlock, who was at the epicenter of the controversy, enlisted help from the American Civil Liberties Union, and together they took the case through the California court system. It took over a decade to achieve. The landmark decision was given in May 1987.
Rotary clubs are all male, but apparently not much longer. And the major ruling on sex discrimination from the Supreme Court. Justice decided that states may require Rotary clubs to admit women. The question now is how far this decision, which began in Duarte, California, will reach.
Her case.
That's good enough.
No,
It just goes on and talks about Sylvia and the women, how they're fighting for their rights, and it was kind of repetitive from the other information.
This is like the streaming with free ads.
so how long is the video altogether?
Probably about 4.5 minutes.
Okay, well, let's just finish it. It's not that long.
Okay.
Is a study of how women of that era struggled to attain equal rights. Sylvia's role in the process is both eye-opening and fascinating. Come and meet Sylvia Whitlock and listen to her story. She is just one of the featured keynote speakers at this year's 2015 Rotary District 5400 Conference.
There you go.
Okay. In Sun Valley, Idaho. Oh,
Conference is over. You can't go.
at least not this year. Okay, Lydia, thank you. I know that we learned a lot, so thank you very, very much.
My pleasure to be in Rotary, and it's my sincere pleasure to live in the city of Duarte. So thank you all.
All right. Thanks again.
It was my pleasure to have you as one of my educators when I was in school.
That's right. That's right. You did have Lydia, didn't you? Okay. All right. So now, okay, we have pulled item 3B and tabled that. So now we're going to go to 3C, which is Brian Villalobos.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have a very brief report for you tonight. As far as Part 1 crimes go, currently we are down 1.39%. So that is really, really good. I know we had talked about a flash survey earlier, and public safety was down number 3 on the list. And usually it's number 1, but so that's good. That's a good news. Obviously, homeless is number 1, and that's a bigger problem than just Duarte, but it's not something. It is something we're working on. I'll talk a little bit more about it right now. So Measure H, our Measure H funds are starting to wind down as far as the money that's being funneled directly to us from the COG through the county. That ends in May. We already wound up our 5 city grants, which was with West Covina, Glendora, and Azusa. That one ended last month officially. Actually, it ended in December, excuse me, December 31st. So what we're set for the next is all of the money will be funneled through the COG, and all of the programs will be run through the COG. And so all of the services that we are going to receive will be as a result of working with the COG. So we are looking towards getting our next housing navigator sometime, hopefully in June, no later than July. And that will be a shared navigator with the city of Azusa. As you know, currently we are contracting with Foothill Unity Center for our services because we didn't want to just leave a gap in services from January all the way through June. So that is already in place. They're continuing to work with our homeless that we have, especially the one who is receiving funds for her rent. So she is not homeless. We've kept her in her apartment, and those funds will be available and go through May. We're working with Foothill Unity to make sure she doesn't fall through the cracks after that as well. Let's see. Not a whole lot going on in the riverbed as it stands right now. I know Irwindale is working towards trying to put together a cleanup because they can't do any cleanups north of the riverbed right now because of the nesting bird that's endangered. So all of those plans are on hold. The county did conduct a cleanup in Lario Park, and they are still keeping that park clear. And that is all I have unless there's questions.
Anyone have any questions? Hey, thank you. And that really is great news that homelessness and several others are way above the public safety concerns. So you're obviously doing what it takes. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm going to give the thanks over to Sergeant Fiedler and the deputies, but
We'll take it
they're
any
doing a
way
good
you
job.
can.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, and now we have the monthly financial report.
Thank you, Mayor. It's typically this report is just included in your packet as part of the consent calendar. I don't typically say anything about it, but given the relatively light agenda, I thought I would just bring it back to your attention that this is part of every council packet once a month, excuse me. And it always has two components, a treasury report that looks at the city's cash and investments year to date, as well as a revenue and expense report that looks at various revenue and expenditure items. Let me go through just a couple of highlights because I think Mr. Garcia, I don't know that I've given one of these reports since you've been a council member. So you at least will look interested. I don't know about your colleagues.
We'll look interested.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you can pump that to page 2, please. Oh, it's double paging. Look at that. Okay. What I'm saying on the left gives you a quick snapshot of what's in the city's bank accounts and investment portfolio. Our investments are currently all with the local agency investment fund, or LAIF. It's about $16 million. I always want to call you finance director, but your assistant city manager, administrative services director, risk manager, and finance director, Kristen Peterson. We've been talking about perhaps, given the change in interest rates, looking at some more options for the city's investment portfolio. That would be a big change for the city if we were to do that. And it's something not to take lightly. But with marginally more risk, there are larger investment gains to be had. However, there is additional risk. It would require us looking at our investment policy, and it may or may not be something that the council wants to do. Most cities do invest their funds not just in LAIF, but in a portfolio of fixed income investments that offer a somewhat larger return. But risk is a real thing. There's no free lunch. I can remember in 2008, I was with the city that was very well managed, had AAA rated securities, and one of them was Citigroup. And Citigroup, as you remember, just about went bankrupt. So we ended up selling it and losing quite a bit of money. So it just reminds you that no matter how safe investments are, if you're getting a return, it's not risk-free. At any rate, another page on that just shows the cash balances by fund. We keep about half or more of the city's cash is within the general fund. Next pages, please. Oh my goodness, that's a huge sea of green with 2 pages up there. What that is just a pictorial representation for those 3 pages of the city's general fund revenue. And it's been a very good time for the city. We're up about $1.3 million in total general fund revenue versus where we were last year. Most of that is concentrated within what we call our tax revenues, sales tax, the Measure D related transactions tax. It's still been a very good time for the city. Once you go on to the next few pages there, and this is just going to be a sea of green, you get to general fund expenditures. I believe that starts on page 7. Our expenditures are actually down a little bit relative to last year. There's other bars there that show you personnel salaries. They're about flat. We've been fortunate to have a good pace of expenditure growth and control in that area. Okay, keep on rolling. We'll get past all these green bars, and those are 2 charts, and I believe it's pages 11 and 12 or 12 and 30. I can't remember which ones. 12 and 4. Thank you. That talk about total revenues, total expenses, and what our surplus or deficit is in the various funds. And we have 19 active funds. The general fund and the remaining 18 all have certain kinds of restrictions on what we can use those monies for. For each one of those, that shows what's been happening year to date. The chart there just reminds the council of what the components of our general fund balance. That is our net assets, total assets less total liabilities in the general fund. The various components of that, our discretionary reserves, the restricted amounts, and we even have some non-spendable components that consist of land that the city has held back from the redevelopment age, is now actually within our general fund. Okay, and then I think we have one last page after that. Yes, and that gives the council, we adopt a capital improvement program, a CIP. In the first year of that, it's a 5-year plan for the city's capital investments. The first year of that is this budget year, and this provides a snapshot of where we are relative to budget on expenses for each of those projects. I'm drawing a blank on the count of those projects. I believe it's 20 or 21, about $4.1 million budgeted. We're about 1.2 million through that, with a quarter left. That the spending on these projects often tends to be backloaded towards the last quarter or so of the fiscal year. So those expenses will be coming up, but it gives you a good idea, a quick snapshot of where we are on our capital spending. And I believe that is it. Ms. Soya, thank you for going through that. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Ben?
When, Ben, you mentioned talking about the different types of investments that we can look into. When would you bring that up to us for us to kind of look at?
You know, we will, we want to talk to a couple of people in the investment in the business of this, and take a look at the kind of given where interest rates are, because you can't invest in equities. It has to be fixed income, and it can't be anything beyond 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this is some very, very strict guidelines. Given that, we will get an idea, first of all, of what returns we could get relative to what we're getting now. If it looks promising, we can come back to the council with a discussion of it. If the council wanted to go forward, we could go with an RFP to hire. You have to hire a financial advisor.
Absolutely.
You need someone to hold the securities. You need a fiduciary. So, and you then need a monthly report. The value of the securities changes. I mean, we've talked about it. It would be some labor involved.
Right.
That would cost some money, but it could be worth it, particularly in this interest rate return. So anyway, that would be something coming back to you within the next year. I mean, within the next fiscal year. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. For any of you that typically don't know Dan, he has a PhD in public finance.
It's politics and economics, but yeah,
Okay,
you know,
So
it's even more exciting than public
if you-
finance. I know.
yeah, I was
I
gonna
know.
say,
Thank you.
he
Thank you.
gets
Ben.
so excited about this numbers stuff, and everybody else's eyes are glazed over, but
It's the absolute opposite of Lydia's wonderful, inspiring presentation, but I'm used to that difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate that. Okay. We are now at item 4, which is announcements of upcoming community events. Joanna, now this is something we can all get excited about, the library.
All right. Good evening, Duarte City Council. Before I start, I just want to say thank you so much for my lovely bouquet of flowers that I received 2 weeks ago. It was very beautiful. I did get questions all the time from the customers, and I did say the city gave me such wonderful bouquet of flowers. And thank you to your staff manual for delivering them. It was, I don't know how they did it. It was a jar full of water. If it was me, I would have spilled water all over myself. But other than that, on to the announcements. We have our spring reading program. It's going to end on Saturday. You still have time to read about 6.5 hours to go complete the finish line. We have Smarty Pants story time on Fridays at 11. Registration is required. And tomorrow we have our teen program called Little Bits, Create Your Own Electronics, and that's at 3:30. We also have COVID kits available at the library. If you need some, send them by. We have plenty, so they're available if you need them. And that's about it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joanna. Go ahead.
Joanna, really quick, do you have digital flyers of those as well that we can share on our social media?
Yes, we do. I could send them to Joyce.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. Okay, anyone else that would like to speak under oral communications? Vic, I saw you sneak in. Oh, it's going to be Joyce right now.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Yeah. So good evening, Mayor and honorable members of council. On Saturday, May 14th, the city of Duarte will be having their semi-annual community cleanup event that will be taking place in Duarte Civic Center parking lot from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Burtec will accept bulky items, construction and demolition waste, electronic waste, and old documents for shredding. For compost materials, residents should bring large vehicles and storage containers to accommodate the load. Please bring your Burtec trash bill or California state ID so Burtec staff can verify your address. For more information, please contact Burtec at 626-932-1558. If you're looking to get rid of valuable items or trying to find hidden treasures, head over to our community yard sale on Saturday, May 21st from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Duarte Senior Center parking lot. Vendor spaces are still available for purchase for $25 per slot beginning on Monday, March 14th until right now for Duarte residents and Monday, March 21st for non-residents. Again, this is still open. Vendor space is limited, so apply today. For more information, call the Senior Center at 626-357-3513. Also from our Parks and Recreation Department, there is still time to register for our upcoming adult excursion to the Living Desert Zoo Garden in Palm Springs. This excursion will take place on Thursday, May 19th from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. If interested, please register online at accessduarte.com or contact the Duarte Senior Center. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you, Joyce. Okay, and Vic's just here because he knew we wanted to see him. All right, thank you. Okay, now we are on to oral communications and we have, okay, let's go ahead and because I know you were here first, we're going to have Bob Harbick, former mayor of Arcadia and Duarte, good personal friend, Rotarian. I've bicycled throughout Europe with him, Civil War bike trip, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island. We've done a lot of things together, but Bob has an interesting story to tell. So Bob, take it away.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Bob Harbick. I live at 663 Gloria Road in Arcadia. I'm here today because it was 50 years ago this month when I was elected mayor of the city of Duarte. One of my one of the proudest days of my life. Actually, your meeting 2 weeks ago would have been exactly 50 years, but it conflicted with my poker night. But I thought I'd talk just for a couple of minutes here about some of the things that went on back then. Probably the most significant thing that happened during my term as mayor is we adopted the Duarte Redevelopment Agency. That's long gone now, but that was a tool that this city used for many, many years to really advance the community. The meetings were not in this chambers. This building didn't exist. The city hall was up on 3rd Street, and it was in what I was told was an old stove factory. Had a little stage like this, but not nearly as nice a building. You've done a beautiful job with this. I thought I would mention that during my term as mayor, we celebrated the 15th anniversary of Duarte as a city. My wife Patsy, First Lady, cut the cake that night, and so we had a little celebration. So I guess you're going to be celebrating your 65th anniversary this year. I noticed that you're still meeting on Tuesday nights, but it wasn't always on Tuesday night. We met when I first joined the council 52 years ago. Our meetings were on Monday night. And one meeting sometime in there, Donald Watson, who was a member of the city council at the time, you'd recently named your recreation trail in honor of Donald and Bernice Watson. Don was a colleague of mine on the council. In fact, when he first ran for city council, I was his campaign manager. He called me up one night and said, let's get together and have a drink. And he told me, some people have been talking to me about running for city council, and I decided I'd do it if Bob Harbeck would be my campaign manager. I was 27 years old at the time. I said, Don, I don't know anything about running a city council campaign. And he said, well, I don't know much about being a city councilman. So I said, well, it sounds like a match made in heaven. Let's do it. So I was his campaign manager. He won by a huge 2-vote margin. In the recount, the challenger picked up 2 votes, but so did Don. So the 2-vote margin stayed. But anyway, Don, at this meeting, toward the end of the meeting, he said, would anybody have a problem if we changed our meetings to Tuesday night? And so I said, yeah, okay, Tuesday night's fine. I said, Don, why do you want to change? He says, well, they're starting this thing called Monday Night Football.
God bless you, Don.
So that's how your council meetings moved to Tuesday night and have been there for the last 50 years. You probably don't get too many chances to see a mayor on their 50th anniversary of becoming mayor. You have to start pretty young to still be around. I was 31 when I was elected mayor, and I think I'm still the youngest mayor the city's had. But anyway, my time in Duarte, I grew up in Duarte. My time in Duarte was a happy one, and my time on the city council was a memory that I'll always treasure. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity to come here and bring greetings from an old timer and say hello to everybody. So, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And just to let you know, Bob always bicycled faster than me, probably still does. All right, thank you for coming, Bob and Patsy. Okay, and now we have, let's see. Okay, we have someone that would like to speak about the City of Hope. This is Jose Barrera.
Good evening, Mayor Finlay and the rest of the City Council. My name is Jose Barrera. I'm here representing SEIU UHW, the Service Employee International Union.
Could you just step a little closer to the microphone?
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jose Barrera. I'm here representing the Service International Union, SEIU, United Healthcare Workers West. And on behalf of our members, we represent over 100,000 members across the state, many of which live and work here in the city of Duarte. and work in the City of Hope. And on behalf of our members, I've been asked to reach out to the City Council, and they've also tried to reach out to discuss some of the issues that they have been experiencing at the City of Hope. So, and just wanted, to be able to put that on the record and be able to hopefully set up a meeting between some of the council members and our UHW members to further discuss and dialogue with what's going on. And I would love to connect. I'll follow up via email and just to put that on public record, looking forward to connecting with all of you and looking to hearing back from you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, and I think that is probably, okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak under oral communications? Okay, then we will go
I just have a
to,
quick comment before Bob and
I'm
Patsy
sorry.
leave. Tonight was very educational. I think the opportunity to hear you share those stories is wonderful. We should get you on tape at some point. And right, I think so. Get you over to, was it KGM or Foothills or, but you should both do a video in your cycling outfit. It doesn't matter, but share the stories. They're wonderful. Thank you so much.
I'd be happy to do that. I've got a million stories.
What did he say?
and trust me, he does have a million stories. And Bob looks great in Lycra too, you guys.
We'll make sure they have enough film or video or digital storage. Take care.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Oh, Lino, you wanted to speak. Go ahead.
Lino Paras, District 9, as Mayor Finley acknowledged earlier. Came back because I have a comment during your workshop, and I'm so impressed with Professor Jordan, Dr. Jordan. Okay, even though I have double talk on that thing, but I was so impressed with his presentation. You got a good man here, and of course you have other good candidates in the past, but I think you made the right choice. Secondly, no, I forgot. There is a stump the city attorney in the past. I'd like to do a stump the council members and also the department heads. And this is the situation. How do you know while you're driving in Los Angeles County that a lot of streets, they have the name of the city or wherever, but some of the streets don't have the name of the city, right? As you're driving, how do you know that you are in an incorporated city or unincorporated part of the county? Dang, 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 dang. So whoever answers that gets $100 from me that you can donate to organization that you have before the end of the.
I think I know,
No,
sir.
I think, oh,
Okay,
it's the color of the street sign.
okay.
You stole my
What
answer.
is the color of the street sign?
They're blue
For what?
for the county areas.
We didn't talk about this beforehand.
I know we
Okay.
did. Oh,
I just want to make sure that, so
no,
you got $100
You stole my
from
answer.
me
$50 was that
to,
mine.
no,
to,
I
to
just steal.
whoever you want into youth organization or in the count in the city, okay? Now, I never know this person beforehand. So,
Sir,
that's along the line of Mrs. Phyllis Stump, the city attorney at that time. And I think I have the last one, but I forgot. But anyway, I came back because of Mr. Jordan.
Dr.
Salute.
Jordan, Dr. Jordan.
Air Jordan.
And oh, now I know. Okay, is there a doctor in the house? Now, anyway, now I know. It makes me feel to go back to the university and take either complete my master and or take a PhD in homelessness. Thank you.
You know, I would have gavelled you down, Lino, when you were starting to get there, but I have gavel pequeño here right now tonight. Okay,
Sir, I'm gonna need that to be $200 because that was my answer. And I'll let the ladies go first, so.
split it, you guys. Quit arguing, just split it. Okay. Thank you. And so we are on to the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
I wanted to pull 6H.
And I'm glad you did, because I was going to read the proclamation.
Oh, there you go.
Because I think it's super important. And I don't know, I think you probably maybe saw the movie that that Mr. Wise father did.
My grandfather's story.
Okay, and what's it called?
Rose of the Desert.
Crows of the Desert. You guys, if you have not seen it, it is probably one of the more compelling movies you will ever see. It's about the Armenians in Turkey. And it's really sad, but there's a lot of excellent footage. When was it? Was it around the turn of the century, Mr. Y?
Yeah, and 1915.
Right. But anyway, it's an amazing, amazing movie. And Mr. Y paid to have it played in our auditorium here. I believe, and Mike Antonovich, he had something to do with getting it here, or was it Catherine? Catherine Barger. Anyway, but I did want to read this. It's a proclamation by the city of Duarte. Thank you, Zeidel, for pulling this. This is, Duarte is naming this Armenian History Month. It says, whereas the Los Angeles County has the largest Armenian community in the United States. Interesting. I didn't know that. Most of them in Glendale. And whereas an estimated 214,618 Armenians live within Los Angeles County, whereas we should celebrate the determination and faith of Armenian genocide survivors and their descendants, and whereas we recognize the Armenian community's struggle for inclusion and equity, and whereas we appreciate the rich history and contributions of the Armenian community, and whereas we honor the proud and deserving Armenian community, and whereas Los Angeles County leaders designated the month of April as Armenian History Month, and whereas the city of Duarte celebrates the Armenian culture and recognizes their history and accomplishments, and now therefore be it resolved that the city of Duarte hereby proclaims April 2022 as Armenian History Month in the city of Duarte. So, Mr. Y, we haven't forgotten. We truly treasure all of the Armenians, not only in our community, but throughout the world. So thank you very much. And again, Zeidel, thank you for pulling it.
I thank you very much for supporting the Armenian genocide projects, and thanks for showing my grandfather's memories in Paxson in the past. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so Zeidel, you wanted to pull that, but now we can go ahead and throw it back in there. Okay, so does anyone else want to pull anything else from consent? Okay, do we have a motion then?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar after having read the proclamation for Armenian History Month. Do we have any further discussion? Any objections? If not, so ordered. Okay, so item 7, nothing was removed that we didn't already vote on. Item 8, we have no public hearings. Item 9, no business items. We already did that for 2 hours earlier in the evening. we have item 10, which is continuation of oral communications. Anyone that did not speak earlier under oral communications, may step forward and speak to us. Yeah, you know, I was just drilling eyes right into you, wasn't it, Steve? Okay, then we're at item 11. Guys, I think it could be a record tonight, as long as we don't get long-winded here. Okay, let's go ahead. And this is items from city council members and department heads. Brian, you've already said a lot, but if you have something else. Okay, thank you. Craig. Okay, Craig, it's not a coincidence that Craig and Crumble both begin with CR. Are we still on track? Those cookies were delicious. I don't know who had the foresight and wisdom to go ahead and bring it, but thank you. Bring it on. All right. Thank you. And I just want to make mention that Bob Harvick, when he was here, he looked at the pink box and it's almost as good as Tiffany's blue box. But this is the Crumble pink box. And Bob said, "What's Crumble?" And I thought, really? You've lived in Arcadia all these years and you don't know this stuff? So anyway, he had an education tonight on Crumble cookies. So, okay, Manuel. Nothing. Okay. Kristen, nothing. Dr. J.
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Ty. Okay. We'll start down at this end. Zeidel.
Thank you. I think our Parks and Rec director is being humble. The Egg Fest was fantastic. It was a little adjustment from previous years. I think the addition of the different activities for the kids, like the football and the bounce house and activities, and in addition to obviously the egg hunt, people stuck around versus just picking up the eggs and leaving. So I think that was great. And then the next one was the spring fashion show. I know it was mentioned briefly at the last council meeting when someone in the audience called our city manager Magic Dan. And then another piece from the Parks and Recreation Department was the dance competition that was named Wild Styles. It was really, 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 really good. The competition was high end, and even Duarte Dance brought it to. And with that, I think I'm looking forward to the budget workshop and hopefully having additional conversation of what some upcoming events are happening in the city, and even going back to seeing what we discussed on the ARPA stuff. And I hope that most of it melds together. So anyway, that's all for now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Zeidel. And I just have to tell you, I told Manuel this on Sunday when we went to the Wild Styles competition, whatever it was, dance contest. Anyway, so I went there and I think my age was showing, because when I was at home earlier and the kids said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I think I'm going to see like Harry Styles." And they said, "Where?" And I said, "It's down at the Performing Arts Center." And they're like, "No, you got to be wrong. You got to be wrong." And I said, no, it's something, it's some kind of Styles. I guess it's Harry Styles. And so then I was blown away when he goes, "No, it's Wild Styles." So anyway, just showing my generational age there, but it was very good. And Duarte Dance, they were so good. Where were you, Zeidel? I was expecting to see you up there. I've seen you dance.
Yes, I did watch the State of the Cities for the last couple of years on the YouTube. But those were definitely a next level of dancers. I probably could keep up for like maybe 2 minutes, but.
Well, at least you'd be able to start. I mean,
Yeah.
Raina knows I can't dance. So
Oh, yeah, we saw that at the State of the City.
I know, I went like this. It was like, nope, doesn't have it. All right, thank you. Okay, Vin.
I have nothing.
Okay. Jody?
I would just like to echo the Parks and Recreation. I just love our Parks and Rec department and all the people that work in it. We have so many fun activities and my daughter loved the Egg Fest. The Wild Styles was really good. And just everything you guys do, we're really, really enjoying it. And also Councilmember Garcia organizing Earth Day at Royal Oaks Manor. I just want to
So good.
give him a shout out. It was a wonderful event. He's very well thought of there and I can see why. So thank you for having us out for that as well. So, and thank everyone.
Okay.
Well, I can't take the credit for that. I have to thank Manu and Susie. As soon as I told them about the event, they said, let's do it. How big do you want it? And the residents have been talking about it for the past few days. They're very happy with all of you for showing up. They're very fond of our city manager, and they're actually, the resident council is trying to investigate how they can become part of Duarte, which is something that I think is very neat. And if that comes out of that event, then how great. I have a few things. First of all, I'd like to send a shout out to Temple 5, especially our sheriff deputies here in the city of Duarte. Thank you for keeping our businesses safe and the way you've all handled recent situations. I'm very proud of the work that you do, so thank you. Also, this past week, Hawaii, Moto Hawaii Mochi
Mochi?
Donuts opened up, and Buffalo Wild Wings to go. So that's exciting. I still haven't gone, so I'm gonna check it out. I want to thank Lady and Bob for coming out tonight and giving us some history. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. What else did I write down? The Earth Day event, which we talked about, and I was at the Harry Styles concert. Oh no, the the Wild Styles early that morning, setting up the food booth and helping out with sound. I had to take off early, but I want to thank the sponsors that donated food. We were able to raise almost $500 from the food sales. So thank you to everybody. And that's it. Stay safe. God bless everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Tony.
I would just like to thank the former mayor for coming in and the history lesson that we got from the ex-Kiwanis, Eileen is her name?
Lydia.
Lydia from Rotary. I did not know that story. I haven't heard that story, and I actually grew up in here in Duarte. And Donna Bogart was actually my elementary school principal. And like I said, I was in her office an awful lot. So she knew me really well and my parents. And so thanks for the history lesson. And that's all. Thank you and God bless.
Tony, you're kind of one of those bad boy does good, right? All right, we know what that history is.
Well, that and my father's belt made me do good.
Whoa, okay. I just have a couple things. As we've all talked about, the Easter egg hunt. I have something new, and I talked about this a little bit with Manuel. I don't know how excited he'll be about this, but look, he just gets nervous every time I bring this stuff up. But my daughter that lived in Georgia, they had big Easter egg hunts down there with, all the little kids running around. But they brought their Easter eggs in with the Easter bunny on the helicopter, and they dropped them from up above. Yes? Burst my bubble? injury. The kids aren't supposed to stand under the eggs. And I appreciate that. Okay. Okay. And keep in mind, this is backcountry Georgia, okay?
Mayor, you just happen to live in Los Angeles County. We can't do those kind of things here.
Well, we'll come up with something new and innovative. Although I thought the underwater egg hunt was a marvelous idea. So, all right, thank you. And the senior egg hunt, I love that. The thing that was funny, you guys, I had a bunch of the grandchildren. They came out and they hid the Easter eggs for the seniors. And one of them said, how come the Easter Bunny isn't doing it? And I said, well, Easter Bunny was busy today, so that's why you guys are helping out. So it was amazing. Grand openings, the Huntington, Hamo Sushi, oh, amazing, amazing. And then Buffalo Wild Wings, that was probably, I think I found out a day beforehand. And that's when Council Member Dan Jordan and I went down there and we did the wing shake. I've never even been to a Buffalo Wild Wings, just to let you know. And we are the first Buffalo Wild Wings go in Los Angeles. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, but I enjoyed that. Chadwick Development. That's in the foothills in Bradbury. We don't have anything to say about it, but they're gonna be kind of tearing the hillside apart. Our staff has been on it. Have we sent that letter then? Okay, so we've sent it to them. We've asked to have them re-examine the EIR because there are a variety of things that we object to. But ultimately, do we have anything we can do about it, Greg? Trying to get them to relook at it? Because there is the possibility. Now they're saying they won't encroach on our conservancy, but who knows, right? Okay, I know you will. Thank you. DHS swim team, they're doing really well, really well. So I just want to give a shout out to the DHS swim team. And then finally, the Duarte Education Foundation gave out, we interviewed 9 students yesterday from the high school. Totally blows me away all the time whenever I get to interview these kids. Out of the 9, I think 5 are going to UCLA. A couple of them are, yeah, I knew you'd like that one, Ty. I think 2 of them are going to Berkeley. And I can't remember what one was a community college person, which is great. And I can't remember where the other one was going. Anyway, great kids, incredibly involved. I think our society is in good hands if we have these kinds of young people doing well. So the Education Foundation, we're going to be awarding $8,000 in scholarships to these young people. So I appreciate that. And one other thing, and that is if we could go ahead and adjourn in the memory of, let's see, Gladia Bell, Ken Bell's mother passed away. She was over 100 years old. She passed away. And if we could adjourn in her memory tonight, and if we could get a note out to the Bell family, they are iconic in our community, and Ken used to bring his mom to a lot of different things. So anyway, if no one else has any other questions, comments, considerations, then I will take this tiny gavel and I will attempt to adjourn this meeting. Yeah, okay, never again, never, ever again. Okay, we are adjourned. Thanks very much for a quick meeting.
That's you.